Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 3 with me, Melissa Da Silva, continuing to master your mindset. So, as you know, we spoke about week 1, talking about self image and the image that we have of ourselves. The internal self image and an external self image is how we think and feel how other people see us. In week 2, we did cover introduction to paradigms. So by now, if you haven't watched it, you might want to go back and take a review because week 3, we're really going to step in a little bit more depth around paradigms. So, just a reminder and a review that a paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over your habitual behavior. And most of our behavior is habitual. So when you think about, again, how you get up in the morning and how you move, how you walk, how you greet other people, this is controlled by your paradigm. And why do I say almost exclusive control? That's because there's a part of our mind, which is our conscious mind, that has the ability to think, right? So we have the ability to accept and reject the thoughts as they come into our consciousness. And then the way we internalize it, otherwise known as getting emotionally involved, is where we're going to really, really act from that place. So, your results are always a reflection of your thinking. So think about your results. Think about your beliefs around money. A lot of people have a negative money mindset when I first start to meet them and start to pick their paradigm. And a lot of people are not even acknowledging that they actually have that or aware. So, my job in interview coaching is to really have a conversation with you. Most times, when I meet somebody, I don't really meet the true you at first. I meet the guarded you. But then when I get introduced to your other self, that's where I really see and work with you to start uncovering your full potential, to really strip, all the things that are holding you back to help you get to the next level. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And again, one of the tips is I really, really encourage you to get a pen and a piece of paper and really, really just jot down the things that I speak about that stick out to you. You want to think about this as a way of study. So you want to listen what I'm saying. You want to rethink, and then at the end, you want to kind of rewrite what you got out of it. That's not enough to just gather the knowledge in your mind, because remember, when we're gathering knowledge, we're not internalizing that knowledge, and then it soon leaves our consciousness, and then it's no longer a part of our thinking. So when I tell you understanding is strictly through study, it's the different thoughts and concepts really through repetition giving you those ideas, and then you're going to start to understand and internalize that thinking and living from that place inside your paradigm. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm really excited, and I just really want you to put all distractions away just for a little bit. It's not going to be a long visit today with me for this lesson, but I don't want you to get distracted, because I could say something and that could be a turning point in your thinking that could really hit you emotionally. Okay. And that's what we're really wanting to do, is like find out what your pain points are. And in that aspect, we can go ahead and start to uncover things about you and just really get into it more of a deeper process in learning together. All right, so thank you so much. We are going to go ahead and get into the presentation, but I want to start and end with gratitude. Thank you so much for continuing to master your mindset with me, Melissa Da Silva. If you're not inside my Facebook Master Your Mindset with Melissa community, I really do encourage you to get in there. I also want you to go below, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you get notifications when my next lesson comes live. And again, this is week 3 where we're going to talk about paradigms. So one of the quotes from my personal mentor is, set a goal to achieve something that is so big, so exhilarating that it excites you and scares you at the same time. I can't tell you how important that is. One of my mentors always told me, if you are not excited and scared at the same time going towards your goal, then you're going in the wrong direction. And I was like so confused. I want you to start getting comfortable, getting uncomfortable, because the comfort zone is a dangerous place. Do not stay there. Do not go there. Really, really stretch your thinking. Think about, what do I want? Don't think on a plane of thinking where it's like, okay, what do I think I can achieve? You want to make sure that you're continually thinking to the next level, because the only limits in our life are those that we impose on ourselves. And it's so true what Bob says. Nobody is going to make you successful. You really have to think and decide where you're going. And you got to think from your future self. How do you do that? You got to act, walk, talk like you're already there. And that's not natural. That is not natural. You got to think and be from your future self in order to start really, really visualizing and starting to get those things materializing in your life. So, as I introduced to you in lesson 1 of Introduction to Paradigms, back in the 1960s, there was a doctor called Dr. Thurman Fleet. And basically, there are many parts of our mind, but to make it a little bit more easier to understand, he created something called the stick person. And he divided the thinking mind and the doing mind and the internalizing and acting all in one stick person. So when you're thinking of this, I want you to think of the top half of your mind, your conscious mind. So this is your thinking mind. This is the part of our thinking where we can accept and reject thoughts. Listen, you don't have to accept anything I'm saying, but I'm asking you not to reject it. And I want you to be open to it, because it'll literally change your life. Okay. So when you're in school, this is the part of your mind where you're learning, you're gathering new ideas, but it's also the part of your mind where those beautiful dreams will fade out of your life because you're not acting on those ideas. Okay. The subconscious mind is a little bit different. That is where the paradigm lies. That's the mental program. That's the part where you're acting from. And a lot of those, beliefs that you're thinking are actually silent. So they're all in the subconscious mind. But the cool thing is at any point in your life, you can continually rewrite the program and you can continually go to the next level. I always tell my students, you want to continue to focus on continually changing your paradigm, because when you come up against a new idea or a goal, you don't actually believe it yet, right? You don't have that confidence, because if you did, you would already had the goal. So understanding, just like me, I have a paradigm as well, that once you start to learn and understand yourself more, you're going to be less likely to hold yourself back from the things that you want, because you're going to understand, I am getting emotionally involved with an idea that I'm internalizing, which is going into the subconscious mind, and then that transfers through your body, called vibration. So it's the vibration of the thinking, otherwise known as feeling. Okay, so the other word for vibration is called feeling. So think about this. You're thinking about something really happy. Maybe somebody got a new puppy. And a lot of the times we're going to have happy thoughts around a new idea of something new and exciting, right? So when we get emotionally involved with that idea, your body, your vibration feels good. But when you get emotionally involved with a negative thought, then you're going to start to see your body shift. And a lot of people, when they have an emotional impact, if you have a death that happens, or you hear something sad about, maybe someone's sick, you start to feel a little bit heavier. That's when you're getting emotionally involved with a negative idea. So pay attention to your body, pay attention to, how do I feel? And then ask yourself, have the courage to ask yourself, well, what am I thinking that's making me feel like this? Depression is a state of thinking. And I can't And I can't stress that enough. I was talking to somebody this week and they were telling me a scenario on, how their partner was in just a really negative mindset and they'd come home and they would feel, just really, really negative too. And I said, they are ignorant. And they're like, well, what do you mean? They're not ignorant. I said, yes, they're ignorant to their thinking. They're getting emotionally involved with a negative idea. Their body is moving into that negative vibration and they're not understanding why it's happening. And they're just acting from that place continuously. How many times have you felt that maybe you were continuously getting emotionally involved with an idea? And that idea wasn't serving you, and then it's going to keep you in a low state. So think about, what am I thinking about? What is something that might not be serving me? Am I feeling good? Or am I finding myself getting emotionally involved with negative ideas often? And that is not healthy, because if you think about your body in disease and sickness and illness, it's actually called a state of dis-ease, where the body is an irregular vibration and it's just not in a healthy growth moving forward, especially with your thoughts. So once you start to understand, listen, I have the ability to think. I can accept and reject the ideas, the things that I hear as they come. But most people are not thinking. Most people, I would say 98% of people are on autopilot, like an airplane. They're flying a plane in the air. The pilot goes to the bathroom. Listen, as long as he's taking it on autopilot, the brain knows what to do. The plane knows what to do. And that's a lot how your paradigm works. It knows what to do. So if it's operating by a program, then it's going to already have that autopilot set frequency in there. Okay. So breaking down the stick person a little bit more in depth. So as I mentioned before, you have a thought come into your consciousness. It could be that if you are operating, like we talked about in week 2, introduction to paradigms, some people naturally will only operate through their sensory factors. Okay. So it's hear, see, smell, taste, and touch. You don't want to live your life operating from that place, because you're going to be on something called an animalistic state, where you're just reacting to things and you're not thinking and you're not having that emotional intelligence behind what you're thinking. So when you think of your thoughts in the consciousness, if you then internalize them, that means you turn those thoughts over to the subconscious mind. You're getting emotionally involved with those thoughts. You're putting emotion to it. That transmits through the body, through your actions, and then creates your results. So, that could be in your personal business. That could be in your relationship. That could be in your life. And if you think about it, one of the universal laws is the law of attraction. But the law of attraction is actually a secondary law. The primary law is the law of vibration. Okay. Because everything runs on frequency, just like our cell phones. If I were to call, my friend Ashley, I'm not going to get my friend Monica, because I'm on her frequency. So why do we have such a difficult time understanding that our thoughts run on the same wavelength? Money has a frequency. Success has a frequency. Love has a frequency. Are you love aware? Are you success conscious? Are you abundance and grateful conscious? Are you money conscious? If you're on that frequency, listen, you can't get an AM station on an FM tune. You got to think only about the things that you want, and understand that those ideas, through another law called the universal law of the transmutation of energy, where those thoughts will start to move into form. Okay. So simple, just like we talk about Think and Grow Rich, you become what you think about. You become what you think about. So when we're thinking of our sensory factors, we come into the world And we first operate, we see and understand the world through our 5 sensory factors. So that's hear, see, smell, taste, and touch. So through this is how we understand the world first. As we get older, we start to build and develop something called our intellect. And that is where you have your intuition and you learn about that, the voice inside you, reason, the ability to think, will, the ability to focus, to shut out any outside distractions. How many times do I hear from people, you know what, there's just so much noise in my head that I have a difficult time focusing. That's because you're just ignorant, because you can actually strengthen your will. Through Inner You coaching, I have specific exercises that you can do to help strengthen all those things. You have perception. That's the way you view a situation. You have imagination. That's the way you create and originate in your consciousness. And then, of course, we have memory. Okay. We all know what that is. So understand that you become what you think about. So what are you thinking? Are you thinking about the things that you don't want to attract in your life? A lot of the times, you know, people are so focused on the negative. They're focused on what's going wrong rather than what's going right, which, as I mentioned earlier this week in my story about focusing on gratitude and just affirming that only good is coming. You know, even if it's a crap week, even if it's a crap day, even if it's a crap month, you know, telling yourself an affirmation, everything is always working out for me. Let go of the how. That's none of your business. And neither are other people's opinions around you. So understand that you become what you think about. That is plain and that is simple. So again, those thoughts turn into feelings, which go into the body through the transmutation of energy, right? Where thoughts move into form. We're going to get into universal laws another time. And then action turns into your results. So you don't need to tell me what you're thinking about when I first start having a call with you. I start asking you certain questions around your paradigm. I already know what you're thinking by looking at your results. By their fruits, you will know them. The results don't lie, just like a blood test. So, what are the things does the paradigm have control over? In week 1, we introduced you to self-image. And the paradigm actually controls your self-image. It controls the image that you have about yourself. Remember, you have 2 images. When you look in the mirror, you have your external self-image. So the way you see yourself, the way you think that other people see you. And then you have something called an internal self-image, is the way you think and the way you feel and how you see yourself inside. And these images can be really, really different. These images are created by a group of ideas, things that you may have heard through repetition, or just believed off the bat because maybe there was an emotional impact there. You started thinking about that negative story, and then it inherited into your belief system. And that belief system helped to shape your self-image. And you can only operate from the level that you think you are. You can only operate, and I would probably write that down on a piece of paper, like a thermostat. You put the thermostat at 72 degrees, okay? It's winter time, you open the front door. What happens to the thermostat? There's a little mechanism inside there that turns it on, says it's too cold. It's not at that level at 72 degrees. It's dropped. And then all of a sudden, it brings the temperature back up to its set program peak. That is like the self-image. So when you're going outside of the self-image in regards to goals or whatever it is, it's going to be uncomfortable. You're always going to operate and want to operate to stay comfortable at the level that you are. So when we think of your ego self, ego is another word for paradigm. You know, people that are living in a victim mentality, people that are always scared in a scarcity mindset. You are built to survive. So what does that mean? You're built to protect yourself from going towards things that are uncomfortable. You see mistakes rather than seeing lessons. You don't have as much as an abundance mindset. I want you to start catching yourself. Snap your fingers. Disrupt your thinking when you're having a negative thought and say, no, do I really believe that? Do I really believe about what I'm thinking? Or is that just my program? And then you catch yourself and you flip it to the other side. And then you start to create a growth mindset. So they do talk about growth mindset in school. Unfortunately, they don't teach and talk about self-image. I think that's really important, especially for our children. And I will be working with a high school, actually, local to me, starting with a grade 10 class. I got introduced to one of the teachers, and I will be going in to teach about self-image. So who knows, I could be sitting in a classroom with your child. I think learning about the self-image is really important because less bullying will be happening. When kids better understand themselves, they're not going to feel like maybe they do right now. And I think we're just so focused on fitting in. And a lot of times we're focused on hurting people when we really just need to start loving people. But how do we love other people? We have to start loving ourselves. And in order to do that, we need to gain understanding about ourselves. It's just plain and simple. So last week, I introduced you to something called the terror barrier. So what is that? How does it work? So basically, remember, you are inside a X-type conditioning, and that's in your paradigm. It's the comfort zone. You are comfortable, you're in a vibration of comfort, and you don't want to leave, okay? When an outside idea comes inside of your consciousness, maybe it's to get that new job. Maybe it's to go on that trip that you think you can't afford. Maybe it's the money that you want. That is a Y-type idea, and that comes into your consciousness. And a lot of times, we play with this idea in our consciousness, and then we just let it float away. Okay. So that idea has left the consciousness, it's forgotten, it was just a dream. But just say that you decided, and again, you don't need the money, you don't need anything until you make the committed decision. Once it's set in and it's a committed decision, you're actually going to accept it on a gut level. And that Y-type idea is actually going to be internalized into the X-type conditioning inside your subconscious mind, okay? Once that happens, hell breaks loose. You start to feel sick. Some people feel nervous before a job interview. Whatever it is, you are in something called an XY vibration. And that is basically going to bounce you back to bondage. And again, it's just ignorance because you're not understanding that discomfort is normal in order to change your paradigm to get through to the next level. And, I'm continually telling students, you need to get comfortable getting uncomfortable, because after a while, once you stay in that vibration for a bit, your paradigm starts to back down. That Y-type energy becomes the new becomes the new Y vibration of the body. That's when you have something called a paradigm shift. Okay. So how are you going to get to the next level if you're not understanding why you're feeling the way you do? In a direct sales company, top recruiter. And what I used to teach people was about this concept right when I met them. And I said, hey, listen, this is what's going to happen. You're excited right now, but in about 24 hours, you're going to be scared to death, and you're going to call me, or you're going to want to call me, and you're going to tell me that you want to change your mind. Okay. And they're looking at me like, no, that, you know what? I'm like, listen, I know how it works. And I would actually, without them being conscious of it, I would walk them through the emotions that they were going to have in the next 24 hours, assure them that they were real and okay, and that if they stick with me, they are going to be able to have that freedom to start in the business. This completely changed my career in regards to what I was doing. And this completely changed this person's life, because a lot of people are holding themselves back from the life that they say they want. And how can you do that if you don't understand that you need to get comfortable getting uncomfortable? It's just plain and simple. And it would just be a breakthrough experience. So once you do that, you bust through the terror barrier, which is looks like a brick wall, and you get into freedom, and that's where you're going to rewrite and change your new paradigm. That is the secret to busting through the terror barrier, understanding that you have a program that is like a thermostat that's going to keep you comfortable until you decide enough is enough, that I'm tired of being sick and tired, that it's going to cost me the money. It's going to cost me the time. It's going to cost me the tears. It might cost me some people in my life that I got to shed in order to get to the next level. Stop being afraid. You could get hit by a car tomorrow. God forbid. I don't want anything happening to you. Long story short, people are tiptoeing through life, hoping to make it safely to death. It's a really, 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 really stupid game. You know, you are a remarkable being and you have full potential, and you will never convince me otherwise. That's why I love to help people, because I was in an ignorant state and I knew very little about myself, and I'm continuously learning forward. And I am continuously failing forward. And the problem that people are facing today is that they don't know. They don't know that they can be living better. They don't know that they can be thinking better, and they certainly don't know that they can be doing better. But I teach in all of those aspects, and I believe in you before you believe in yourself. I hope that you enjoyed a little bit more depth into paradigms. And I want you to go back and review these lessons. And then I want you to book a breakthrough call with me. I want to have a conversation with you. I want to see where you're at. I want to know where you're going. And then if you decide from there that working with me is for you, then we can go ahead and we can implement that going forward. But you don't need the money. You don't need the time. You don't need anything until you make the decision and telling yourself that you are tired of being sick and tired, and that you are ready to bust through that terror barrier and go to the next level. I look forward to meeting you. Stay tuned for next week. And don't forget to share this video, subscribe below, and like this video for my YouTube channel. And I'll see you soon. Take care. And thank you for mastering your mindset with me, Melissa De Silva.